Alright, another video on the road to work. I was watching some YouTube clips from YouTubers and watching the news from India. And what I thought, and I actually watched Trump's address, which I really didn't want to, but I watched it and I streamed it. And I'll say this much, despite that this whole war is a mess, he's still trying to claim victory on top of openly proclaiming he wants to genocide the entire country of Iran, or Iran, however you want to pronounce it, for them to bow down and cower before the United States. I want you to listen to that again. Trump wants to genocide the entire country of Iran to force them to bow down and cower before the United States. Because he did say Iran has to accept the ceasefire or he's going to knock out all their electricity and maybe the oil to where they can't do nothing for decades. Or cower to us to prove that the United States is the most powerful in the world, which, and you can't escape that without thinking like, what the fuck are we living in? Now, this is really to all the MAGA followers that may still be in my subscription list. Because I know most of y'all already left. I can tell. I don't really care. Because my views are straightforward. I don't condone ruling other countries that we deem third world. And it's funny because I have a clip in my shorts where the Filipinos, and I know 2 Filipinas, are pissed. And they actually admit, I take that, I know 3. One lives in the United States. But they're pissed, and now they're admitting that that classic American-Filipino war ended up with America annexing the Philippines and left them derelict. They are as homeless as the homeless in the streets of America, because that's all we see. They finally admitted that this war is proof that the American government is imperialist and they look down on third world countries and truly do not help. If you want to see the clip, just check my shorts. You have Israelis who are bold enough to protest against their president, but they're getting shut down and they're censoring a lot of it. That's why most people don't know there are Israelis who don't support this shit. But their government shut them down, probably imprison them, whatever. When NATO is still, and now it's to the point you have Spain, Italy, and now France saying the United States can no longer use their airspace or bases, period. That goes to show you the UN is no longer willing to accept and cover the lies of the American government for warmongering anymore. Especially, and India news, and of course India is on the same plate too. They already said it in their little briefing debate. They're tired of being blackballed by America. That's why India is part of BRICS. Everybody's just trying to make peace. Everybody has tried their best to deal with Trump, but yet he's not satisfied. And they're tired of it. But nobody wants to go to World War III because the countries who went through that already know the outcome. It's an economic disaster for decades. And the world doesn't need that with all the cost of rising costs from economic warfare that, of course, the United States has brought upon the world thanks to Trump. So, me, I stand where NATO stands. I'll be honest. And Trump wants to get out of NATO anyway. Why? So he can do what the fuck he wants to do. And 4 years, which is kind of weird because why are you so hungry for power? And then he's forcing a legacy, which now the Supreme Court is realizing if they can't successfully impeach him without the support of the Republicans like the first time, because that's what happened, the Republicans allowed him to escape impeachment, they already know it's going to happen again. Then the second best thing to do is legally shut down all his executive orders and executive powers. That's illegal. And they're taking their time, but it's funny, they're starting to move before the midterms, because now if you heard already, they paused this project for the ballroom. They said all his tariffs are illegal, and then he tried to say, well, most countries will accept the 10%, or I forgot, I think it's 10 or 15% to keep him happy instead of asking for a complete refund. They're trying to overturn his executive decision on birthright citizenship. They're shutting him down before midterms, which is ironic. They're waiting a whole year. They could have did that last year. But they see that he's losing support, popularity. There's massive protests on weekends that's looking like something out of the Martin Luther King Million Man March times 20 to the second power. It's looking bad. And all he wants to say, oh, what you see outside of Fox News is fake news. So if NATO is willing to step back, and they're actually saying kindly, we're not going to participate in this war-fearing, war-mongering activity. We're not going to continue to walk down the road of hostile governance. We're not going to continue to perpetuate countries to become actual threats. That's what they're saying. Because now President Macron is actually hinting, if we put military operations in the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to make Iran an official threat. What does that tell you? Iran was never a threat. They never were. Trump and Israel just made them a threat by them retaliating. So they're slowly admitting this because they're getting cooked by Trump's backlash. And they're not really coming back and doing the tit for tat, which I guess you have to commend them for that, because you don't need a word of war around the world. Or war of words, as some would say. And so I support what the world is doing. I've always paid attention to what the world is doing, because I personally never, ever believed in the American lie, or the American dream, or the American bubble. I just wanted to succeed. And I haven't been able to succeed because there's been a lot of greedy motherfuckers in this country. You clearly see that now in the presidency. There's a lot of jealous motherfuckers in this country. You see that also. Because Trump is jealous of a lot of people, even around the world. He's jealous of President Obama, or former President Obama. He's heavily jealous. That's why he's trying to overwrite all their legacies to put himself as the #1 president, because Obama technically is in the top 5 ranking. Like him or not, he's in the top 5, because you have people crying for him to come back if Trump runs in the sneakiest way for a 3rd term, technically. They'd rather him back. That's fucked up. They're not asking for Biden because he's old. They're not asking for Bush because he fucked this country up. They're not asking for Clinton because he's too fucking old. They're not really asking for Kamala, but on the other hand, they kind of would if they had no other choice. But they'd rather Obama back, the very president that half this country really didn't like because he was half so-called black, half African. And the Republicans didn't like him because he shut down their crooked business operation. The very thing you're witnessing now. And yet the Republicans are quick to blame Democrats for doing the same shit. Well, they all do the same shit. But, Republicans are good for calling out Democrats. And then cover it up, and then they turn around and do it in your face because you want to believe in them. So yeah, his legacy is going down in fire, flames, nuclear. Now, whether Americans are going to be smart enough to not vote for his entire family again, that's up to y'all. But y'all better do y'all history. Y'all better, his documentary's all over the internet. Now the Epstein records that's being released in video clips, and people are still ignoring that shit. Like, I find it funny. They got clips of him hanging around little teenagers, probably 20-year-olds, and no one's even lashing out at this. You got MAGA followers still holding on to his dick. How I know? Because when I comment on his True Social, they pop up in my comment feed. Some of them, you know, are in my feed on YouTube. But when I post on TikTok, I got a couple of them at TikTok, but they get overran by a lot of people who don't support this guy. And so they get silenced. They get silenced. So I'll be honest, I am pro-Palestine, pro-Lebanon, pro-Iran, and pro any other third world country that's getting sanctioned to hell, all because the United States government wants to control their resources and want them to bow down, cower to them, including Cuba. I'm pro-Cuba because I knew something was wrong with that country being sanctioned, criticized for having nuclear power was going to attack us. They never, not one time, attacked us. Not one time. And those people over there are starving and dying of starvation under American sanctions, which got tripled under Trump. Why? Because he wants them to cower. Like, bro, and I know a Cuban, and she didn't understand why her country was so poor. I had to explain it to her. Now she see. She see. And she doesn't like Trump. She used to support him, but now she realized he fucked all of us over. And it's first time she realized that. And now she's even more furious because he's back. Some of the Latin community across the board voted for him. It's like, bro, what the fuck? And I don't blame her sentiment. I've talked to Venezuela. She told me like the whole issue behind Trump was because he wants oil access like China and Russia. The whole country knew that. But they have issues with their own problems with politics. They didn't need America to come in and take over like that. They can handle it themselves. Obviously, they were fine for all this time. The ones that didn't want to stay there, they came here. It's that easy. The Iranians can do the same thing. But when you let a president gaslight the young population and then turn their back on them and have them annexed like Hong Kong and killed like in Iran, and then he don't give a shit, but then he turns around, oh, see, this gives me reason to go in and attack. For what? If the whole country don't do that, then there's something wrong with that picture. And now look at him. He's carpet bombing along with Israel the whole country of Iran. He doesn't care about those people. Even the ones who are here, he don't give a shit about them. He's quick to call them terrorists. All the women walk around with hijabs, he's quick to call them terrorists. All the men in their garbs and robes, I don't know what they're called, I'll look it up. He's quick to call them terrorists. He don't give a fuck where they're from, he's gonna call them terrorists. He'll have them all deported. He doesn't care about them. So yeah, hopefully this country is finally woke, legitimately woke. Not the DEI woke and the LGBT and all that shit woke, because that shit was never really woke. That shit existed this entire time, all these millennia. It's just, you know, the media decided to push it out there in people's households, whether they were offered the idea or paid or encouraged it. They decided to push it out in the household. It was always here. That's not real wokeness. In fact, women's rights to do whatever the fuck they want isn't nothing new, because if you look at foreign films, women pretty much dominate just as much as men. Asian films, they dominate. European films, they dominate. All the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, Indian films, women are whooping ass. They dominate. The only difference is they don't treat their men like shit like they do in this country. They don't talk down about their men like they do in this country. Yeah, they might have some issues with rights over there, but they still get a role, and they still dominate, and they still get praise. Ergo, Michelle Yeoh. She's Malaysian. People think she's Chinese, no, but she's Malaysian. She started in Hong Kong cinema. She rose to fame in Hong Kong cinema. I watched all her films when I was young. Still a fan, even though America, Hollywood cinema is destroying her image. That's on her. So that's my spin on this. NATO is currently going to proceed with talks with India and the Secretary of Iran, because they were already offered to talk. They already saw they allowed India, China, Japan, and Russia access to the strait to get their tankers out safely without getting hit, because they still have to worry about that if there's any strikes or fighting. And now the UN is seeing this. They're going to go ahead and get together with Iran and talk, while United States and Israel is trying to get with Saudi Arabia and UAE to continue the strikes. Because Saudi Arabia, I always saw Saudi Arabia as a snake. I knew they were the middleman. They were never trustworthy. I saw that decades ago. It was obvious when I saw who was on those fucking planes in 9/11. Most of them were Saudi Arabians. No one talks about that. But I'll guarantee you this. I know Biden was looking into having them put on trial for that shit, but then he got shut down because it'll hurt the oil industry. He was also realizing supplying aid to Israel was the wrong idea, but he was 3 years too late figuring that shit out. Now the Democrats are like, yeah, we can't keep doing this, which again is too little too late. Now I'm not going to fault them for that, because again, you're fighting against Republicans. If everybody could be on the same fucking page, we wouldn't be pointing fingers, which Republicans are quick to point fingers. But now everybody's realizing, at least the Democrat side, like, this is getting out of hand. And I say, get rid of Israel out of NATO. I actually looked up, and I'm going to correct myself on this because I didn't have time to look it up. But Israel is not a part of NATO, but they are. And this is the confusing part. They are protected under the Article 5, if I'm saying this correctly. They actually have a seat in NATO, but they're not fully protected by NATO. And that's why America treats them like they're part of NATO. Israel provides NATO with a lot of, what it said, technology and information security from other countries. So they actually have a seat at the table. So in a way, and I've said this, NATO need to kick them the fuck out. Bring in Ukraine. Because in fact, Ukraine is willing to help, even though they're helping the wrong fucking people. But that should show you Ukraine should get pulled in under Article 5, which again, Trump is trying to negate. Which I'm like, bro, it's literally to the point Trump doesn't want NATO to help Ukraine at all. He just wants European countries to help with no NATO protection. So I feel like Israel needs to get removed, put Ukraine at the table under Article 5, or just put NATO in a position to pull Ukraine in, period. Because Putin is not stopping the attacks regardless of the situation. So I just hope people start doing their research. They start paying attention to who they vote for, or don't vote at all, because to me, I don't vote because it doesn't even fucking matter. We're constantly in a pendulum effect. Republicans do one thing, the Democrats have to fucking fix it. The Democrats do one thing, the Republicans roll the fuck back. Like, they roll all of it back. Like, make it make sense. At least the Democrats try to look at what the Republicans did and keep some of it. Republicans want to roll everything back the Democrats do. So we constantly back and forth. We're not going nowhere. We're not progressing at all as a country, obviously. And that's why Trump wants to come out there on the pedestal and talk about the American people. They don't know how to make anything. They don't know how to do anything that's constructive to propel the country forward. They got no skill set. So we need foreigners. Well, I guess not if you keep rolling back opportunities for Americans, like clean energy. And it's a shame Elon Musk had an opportunity to create jobs for that project under Biden. And he decided to fight that shit, which is fucked up. Now, guess what? Europe is actually looking at pushing for clean energy. The president of the EU said it, and Prime Minister Keir Starmer said it about a night or two ago. So guess what? Europe is now moving forward with clean energy that President Trump wants to say it looks ugly. Hence, windmills and solar panels. So again, we're going to be left in the dust. It is what it is. So if I have any MAGA followers still, I hope y'all take heed to this bullshit that y'all voted for. Because I didn't vote for this twice. I knew who he was. In fact, I said to a lot of my friends, we do not need a businessman in office. Business people, I don't give a fuck who I offend, are corrupt. Motherfuckers. Corrupt. I don't care how they look on the surface. They are corrupt. If you don't believe me, look at capitalism. Look at this country, how it's ran. The inflation we have is because of business people, not the government. It's the business people. Guess who said this? Economists and Epstein said it. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein said businesses are the cause of inflation. Economists are saying it too. Nixon apparently said it and capped it. He capped it. I looked it up because the economists that I was watching mentioned Nixon capped the companies from causing inflation, which probably caused him to get impeached. Because Obama tried the same shit in a different manner called the Dodd-Frank law, and he pissed off the business, and we had Trump roll in. Guess what Trump did? Rolled it all back. So, it's up to you guys, because I don't know what to say. This country's going to fucking hell, and it's not coming back. I can tell you that. And I just hope any MAGA followers I still have in my group following, I hope y'all realize y'all better do y'all fucking history. That's all I got to say. Because this is ridiculous. And then y'all want to not follow me no more because I voiced my opinion. That's actual world facts about this fucking country. Because the Europeans, everybody know about the bullshit in this country. In fact, I talked to Europeans that came here under a pretext of a lie, and they're in fucking shock and horror when they see the shit that goes on in this country. I mean, I've run into several British people, and they were devastated how trashy this country looked. And they told me, well, we were shown that it looks nice and clean. I said, yeah, everybody's showing that shit. But they got homeless everywhere. They said, yeah, I can see that now. This is not in our country at all. They literally said that. They don't have homeless like that in their country. Europe is militarily weak because they take care of their fucking people. Period. They don't waste money on the military and space fucking programs to do nothing in space. They take care of their people. I know this because I talked to a lot of Europeans and I asked. I literally asked. So, MAGA followers, so-called America First followers, I don't know what the fuck y'all believe because y'all basically a spinoff of MAGA. Y'all better do y'all history. Y'all better do y'all history. That's all I got to say. Because if we get a Democrat in office, I guarantee you, I guarantee you, y'all gonna find reasons to shit on a Democrat when they actually try. In fact, when you got Nick Fuentes, and it's in my shorts, saying that at least the Democrats try to get shit done for the people, that's fucked up. For him to say that, and he's a hardcore Republican. Make it make sense.